welcome back to the farm. If you're new here, my name is Nina. I'm a homeschooling, homesteading mom of 4, ages 8 down to 4, and I am married to Daniel. Here on my channel, we talk all about homeschooling, homesteading, and homemaking. Today's video is a continuation of my curriculum pick series. This is video number 2. I'm going to be talking about my 4th graders' curriculum picks for math and all the language arts subjects. So if you have missed our first video, which was our family subjects, which consisted of Bible, history, and science, I will post that in a card up here and down in the description box so that you can check those out later, just to see what we are up to for the 2021-2022 school year. I hope that this video is helpful for you. It is meant in no way to pressure you to get your curriculum picks in order and have everything ordered. I just happen to already have my stuff laid out, so I thought I would share it with you to be helpful. So my oldest is going to be in 4th grade. He is a very active boy. He is not the one that loves to do school, and he struggles with some reading. He excels in math, and he loves science, hands-on projects, loves anything that can be done as a project home. Like, he's very into like survival type things this year. So I may pull in some more of that stuff. I don't have a lot of it now, but I may pull in throughout the year some survival camping, survival things, wilderness things. He's very into that. But I wanted to just show you what we have picked for him for his curriculum for the year. My husband and I went to the Teach Them Diligently homeschool conference back in March, and we kind of took that weekend. We went without our kids, and we took that weekend and just kind of were like, what do we need to do for each of our kids to kind of make school not more fun, but just more enjoyable. The last couple of years have been very trying for us as for school. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it's me, if it's them, if it's just our family has been kind of in a constant state of change over the last couple of years. But I'm hoping to just kind of find our rhythm this year. We have not been able to find our rhythm of school yet, and this will be our 5th year of homeschooling. I cannot believe that we will have homeschool for 5 years starting next year. It's crazy to think. You would think I would have it more together by now, but I don't. So if you are in my shoes, don't feel alone. I am with you. But anyway, I'm going to get into it. Most of the stuff that we're using this year is Masterbooks, but we're pulling in some other things too. We switched from My Father's World on to Masterbooks. We just felt like we needed a change this coming year. So I'm hoping this change will be a good thing. So first, what do we want to dive into first? Let's talk about language arts, because this is familiar for us. If you're familiar with My Father's World, as you get into the older years, they supply everything but language arts and math. So for language arts, we have been using Language Lessons of a Living Education by Masterbooks. This is a very Charlotte Mason approach to language arts. So for him that struggles with language and reading and these concepts, it's been a very gentle approach for him, and just gives the information in bite-sized pieces that they can process, and kind of builds as we go along, and we'll review some things. So let me show you inside this a little bit if you're unfamiliar with it. You have the scope and sequence, of course. So this includes your work in grammar, vocabulary, spelling, and reading comprehension. It does have another resource that you can get, that's the 100 favorite Bible stories from the Bible. You also work on this in level 3. So I already had this. I did not have to buy it. So I bought this to go along with it. So it starts off in the beginning. It has your kind of how to teach, how do you do this, the different sections as a teacher, oral narration, independent reading, memorization, writing a paragraph, kind of walks you through all of that as a teacher. Spelling, vocabulary, writing your own dictionary, handwriting, review, how to handle all of that, assessments and teacher aids. So, and then it also gives you a schedule, which I like. I like that it's already laid out. I don't have to think of it on my own. I don't have to go through the book and pick it apart and figure out how we're going to time it out. So, day 1 is always a story. It's still following Mr. Lopez, Michael, and Clara. You start that from the very beginning in level 2. Actually, there is a level 1. But it has, I'm assuming they have the same characters as well, but you follow their story through the different levels, and with their Sunday school teacher, and then you go into the activity pages on day 3 and day 2, and see, this is all that you do in one day. You read the story and you do this worksheet. You do this worksheet on day 2, and then you have day 3 and day 4. Here we're writing the different types of sentences. So you're learning the grammar concepts. And then day 4 and day 5. Day 5 usually deals with spelling. I'm not a huge fan of their spelling. If I had one critique of the book, it would be their spelling. But I will get into that in a little bit later when I tell you what we're actually doing for spelling. So for this year, we may do this as practice, but I'm not focusing on spelling from this book. And then you also have so then the next week would be a picture study, and then you're kind of back into your story. So it flip-flops between either a story, poem, or picture study every other week. And so you're kind of getting all of that into one. In the back, you have different resources. You have spelling lists if you want to use them. You have games. You have your sheets for your making your dictionary. You have independent reading lists, different games, spelling list, and then you have study sheets that you can use for review. This one goes over the state capitals, a different review work. Here are the study sheets, so it lays out the different concepts that you've learned through grammar. And then you also have an answer key, so if you need that, it is in the back of that as well. I take these books apart, so you see it has the holes. I will cut the binding off of this. I will take out the teacher guide, the instruction sheet, the schedule, and then I will also take out all of the stuff in the back, the answer key, all of that stuff. I will take all that stuff out so that my kids don't have the answers in their notebook. And then I'll put all the rest of it into a 3-ring binder. And it's just easier for my kids to be able to write on versus having to, I have a lefty, so she doesn't like the humps. So it's just easier for them to have a flat sheet of paper. So I do take this book apart. So moving on. As I said, I didn't really care for the spelling. Not that it's bad, I just wanted something that was more everyday, that we worked on every day. And you could do that with Masterbooks. You just kind of have to do it on your own, if that makes sense. So what we have chose for spelling is BJU Press Spelling 3. So I know he's going to be in 4th grade, but spelling is something that we have dropped the ball on. And so I thought we just kind of needed to go back a level and then kind of work our way up. So we'll see how that works. This is, as with everything, I think I need to go back and say that, with everything, it has the Bible woven into everything that we're using, which I like. So if that's not something that you are looking for, these may not be the resources for you, but it has Bible components of Christianity woven all through that, and we like that it has that Christian worldview with everything that we use. So just side note there. But this is the teacher's edition, teacher's manual, and then here is the worksheet with this. I did not actually buy this from BJU Press. I found it off of Thrift Books. Just because I had already spent money, I was on a budget, I had already spent money on this primary language book, and I did not want to spend a lot of money on this, and I want to say this was about $75 for this, and I just did not I didn't want to spend that money. So I was able to find it used on Thrift, I think it was Thrift Books. Thrift Books or Abe Books. I'll have to remember. I'll link both of them down below. That's a great resource if you're looking for things on a budget. But that's where I found these. And I want to say I spent like $25 for the teacher's manual and then $17 or $18 for this. So it was a significant price difference from the original cost. But I'll just take you through the teacher's manual. It just gives instructions, goals for spelling are in the beginning. Then we have kind of walking you through the front, like instructional materials that you need. What are some, and how to use this teacher's guide. So, more instruction. It gives you the lessons overview, kind of syllabus, how you're going to walk through the course, and the schedule that you're going to complete each lesson on. Learn to spell a word, kind of lays this out. This is also in the student book. And then we go into the actual pages. So it has what your student will see in their book. So here's your answer key there. And then around it, so it has day 1 all the way through day 5, just telling you different things to do. This can also be taught for a school setting. So it'll say sometimes divide the students into 2 teams. Of course, homeschool students, parents can't do that. I mean, you could if you're teaching multiple kids, but I have it mostly just for the workbook. So I'm not going to teach it as I would teach it in a school setting, but it is there. It tells you how to practice. You give a practice test, then you give a post test, and you work on the words throughout the day. And I like the fact that this actually taught the spelling rules and didn't just give you a list, do a couple of activity sheets with it, and then take a test on the Friday or your 5th day or whenever you decide to do the thing. I like that it actually did rules and told you why the word was spelled that way. As you know, the English language is crazy, so it's not always easy to understand, and the same word is pronounced the same way but spelled 4 different ways. And so I just like the fact that it did that. So this is the student book. It's in the handbook. I will probably spiral bound this just so that I have a spiral bounder. I will probably do that just so it's easier for my kids to use. They like books that lay down flat and don't hump. It's easier for them to write in. So it gives you, so here's just an example. It gives you the list, and then you have a couple of worksheets. You have some bonus review words here, and then you have some memory words that you're still working on that they carry over from lessons from previous lessons to kind of help you remember, the students to remember those. And then you're also, here's another worksheet, and here's another one for that day. So just, you're seeing these in paragraph form. You have to pick out the word, working on vocabulary, proofreading, dictionary skills. I kind of like that it was a little more than just spelling, like just memorize. So you're working on those dictionary, proofreading, word studies, like where the word actually came from. So I'm thinking this is going to be really good. Hopefully he will enjoy it. He will like it. As I said, he hates anything to do with language arts. But I think it's really important that he learn to spell and spell well. I'm not a great speller, and he gets a lot of his language struggles from me. It was not my favorite subject. I struggled through it, but I'm hoping that this will work really well for him, and it will work for us this year. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, and so moving on, I said in a video that we use this next thing as busy work, and I didn't really mean the fact that it wasn't important, because it does reiterate good phonics skills, but that's explode the code. I do kind of use this as busy work, but it's important busy work that they need. So for this year, he is going to finish his book 4 book, and then he's going to move on to 4.5 and 5. So this works on phonics skills. It's just phonics review and just kind of reinforcement skills, working on phonics mastery, different things. So he's going to be working through those this year. I pull this out whenever I need them to work on something a little more independently. I don't really use this as our let's teach you how to read, our phonics skills. I do have the teacher's manual, but that's not really how I use it. It's more to just kind of reiterate what we've already learned in our previous language books. So how our language time with him will look is we'll do this first, and then we'll do spelling, and then when I need to work with one of his younger siblings, he will do a couple of pages out of this. So that's kind of how we use it. It's very important. It's getting those phonics skills down, kind of getting him into that reading where we need him to be for reading, because he is behind. If you were looking at where public school kids are, he is behind what those kids are. But I'm not really that worried about it, because he will excel when we get there, when he is ready. He has not quite blossomed in those areas, and so we are still praying for those and still working through that. Okay, for math, moving on. I've realized that this is getting very long-winded, but math, we have made a change for this year. We used to do Math UC. Now, I love that program. It's mastery. It's very hands-on, but the worksheets are very dry. They're good if you don't want distractions, if you don't want color, if you don't want that. And I like the fact that it introduced math concepts in a way that it didn't confuse them or surprise them later on when they saw it later in later years. So for like me, as coming from a public school setting, when I got to 7th grade and it was time to do algebra, I was like, why are there letters in math? Math's numbers. And so it presents different things in a way that it brings those concepts to life early on. That way it doesn't confuse them when they're older. So I like that part of it. But it was working, but yet it wasn't working. And my husband is an engineer and very, very math-minded. That is his, not that I'm not. I love math, I love science. Those are my favorite subjects. But he is even more so than I am. I mean, he deals with it every day. He's an engineer. So when he went with me to the homeschool conference, and we were going through the exhibit hall, looking at all the curriculum, and we were at the Masterbooks station, and he picked this up, and he flipped through it, and he read through it, and he said, this is what we need to use. So if you are a homeschool mom and you're like, my husband never gives me any input, if he gives you input, you do it. So we are doing what he wanted to do, and so that is and I asked for it. I'm not complaining. I didn't mean that to be sarcastic, as if like I didn't want his input, like I'm trying to do everything by myself. No, I asked for it. I welcome his opinion, and I welcome his input into our homeschool. And so he just felt like what we were doing was great, but it was good, but it wasn't great. And so he wanted us to see a change and to bring things more into life, mix it into life. How does math work on a daily basis? Like when we're building a fence and we need to put a post every 12 feet, can we build math into that? And Math Lessons of a Living Education does that. So if you are unfamiliar with this, it does, it starts off with a story. So we did our first lesson today because we're doing it in our summer school. So it starts off with a story. So you follow these characters of Charlie and Charlotte through, and it kind of it relates math, why math is important to life, through story form. And so we were working on place value and copy work, so how to write numbers. So he was working on that today. And then it just goes through different worksheets, and then each lesson starts off with a story. So each lesson is basically the start of a new week. and then you have 5 exercises for that week. It's very gentle, very slow. You could do multiple lessons in a day if you wanted, multiple exercises in a day if you wanted to. You don't have to. But it does lay out like all the other books. Again, this is very Charlotte Mason. It does lay out a schedule for you if you wanted to follow that. We're 180 days here in Georgia that we have to school for, and this goes for 180 days. So I know on day 1 what I need to do, day 2, day 3, and we're just going to go through it like that. I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel on this, and we're just going to follow through it. And then in the back, it has your manipulative section, any resources that you need to use throughout the year, and it does have the answer key in the back for all your worksheets as well. There are review pages. Also to go along with this is the practice sheets and quizzes. Gives you different sheets so you can finish, that goes along with this. You can use with each, basically projects type thing. So, and then any quizzes, if you want to give quizzes, you can do that. We also picked up, so level 3 deals with, it's multiplication and division. And the reason why I pulled him back to this for 4th grade, even though he did multiplication this year, he did not do division. So I didn't want to move him to level 4 and he not already have a good firm foundation in multiplication and division. We were still working on his multiplication facts last year. So I pulled him back a level, but I think he will pick it up and run with it. And I'm hoping that we will actually finish this before the year is over, or about halfway through the year, and then we'll start on level 4. Is my hope. It may not happen, and that's okay. And I did pick up the multiplication and division cards to go along with it. It's the flashcards that you can buy from them. And then I also did get the math teaching companion for language lessons, or not language, for math lessons of a living education. I did get that. This is just kind of the thing that holds your hand through math. So if you're not very good at math, this tells you how to teach it for different types of students. It walks you through. You can use this for every level from K to 6. And then it gives you any resources. It tells you how to use the manipulative packs in the back of the book. Anything that you need to do extra. And there are recipes in the book too that you can use that go along with different levels. And then it has a synopsis of the storyline to kind of, I guess, help you keep up with that. And it also has the readiness test in the back of it too that you could give. That test is also online, and I do recommend, if you're coming from a different curriculum to language for math lessons of a living education, I do recommend that you give your child that readiness test. It was especially helpful for us because we were coming from something that was very mastery. So you did Matthew C, you did everything that had to do with addition in one year. You did everything that had to do with subtraction in 1 year. You did everything that had to do with multiplication in 1 year, whether that was single, double digit, or triple digit multiplication. You did it all in 1 year. And this is more of a spiral approach, so it doesn't quite line up, and just because it's leveled, it's not graded. So just because your kid is in 4th grade does not mean they need a level 4 book. So I would highly recommend doing that readiness test with your child if you're coming over from a different curriculum. Lastly, the thing that we have for him, this is another thing that Daniel picked out for Jameson from the homeschool conference, just to give him an elective, kind of a hands-on approach to some STEM work. As I said, my husband is a engineer, and he's a mechanical engineer, and he works with controls and programming all day long, every day. And so he wanted to bring in a little bit of that aspect to him. And so this company was there, and they had a booth. It was Etron Circuit Labs, and it comes with everything that you need there. And from what I can understand, this is snap circuits on steroids, and basically you are working with the components of a circuit board, and you are working with the actual components and putting them together. I've told Daniel this is something that he and Jameson are going to work with together, because I'm not sure anything about this. I'm sure I could figure it out if I took time to do it, but he and Jameson are going to work through this together this year. And they're going to do it. I'm going to report back. I've had a few people ask about it. As you can tell, I have not opened this yet. We have not dug into it, but I do plan on doing a review through it, and I will link this down below, their website down below, if you would like to look into this a little bit more. They do have a course, like an online course that comes along with it, that they can sit down and do like a video course with. It's an extra cost. I think this was like $25. And then their course was $99, I think. I don't remember if this was included in the $99 or not. I can't remember. I'm not sure. But anyway, so if you wanted to do it, just them sit down in front of a video and do this, they could. But since Jameson is younger, he's going to be 9 in a couple of months, Daddy's going to sit down and do this with them and teach that to him. So, I hope that you got something out of this. This is our picks for 4th grade this year. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful summer and that it's going well. And I hope that you have a great time picking out your homeschool curriculum for this year. Let me know some of the picks that you have for your 4th grader this year, as I'm sure they are probably a lot different than mine. But those are some of my favorite videos to watch, are the curriculum pick videos, and what each family is doing for their kids. It's just very interesting to me. So let me know down in the comments some things that you have picked out for your 4th grader this year. And if you haven't done so already, give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and we are so thankful for those of you that keep coming back every week to see our videos. And we hope you have a great day, and we'll catch you soon in another video. Bye.